the 27th episode of the podcast. Today I'm here with Jacob and Henry. Our two-topic rundown is the NFC South predictions and what was up with the Jazz during that series. All right, Jacob, what are your NFC South predictions?
Okay, so let me start off with coming in at fourth. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. They have not improved whatsoever, especially shipping Julio. Calvin Ridley, I guess you could say, is their wide receiver for the future, but he's not that good. I mean, he is good, but I don't know. Okay, and then they don't have a good defense either. Third seed, I have the Carolina Panthers, who I think are going to be good in a few years, but I think they're going to take a year to progress. Maybe I think they'll be anywhere from 5-12 to 6-11. So then coming in at number 2 are the Saints. Even though they had a terrible situation, they still have the QB situation isn't great, but they still have Kamara and Michael Thomas, and they still have Marshawn Lattimore and a very strong defense. So I think they'll come in at 2 with I want to say 9 wins, 9 and 8, and then at the 1 seed, and it won't even be close, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going 14-3. They re-signed everyone pretty much. They re-signed everyone, and they actually added some. They got some guys in the draft, so we'll have to see. But I think for Tampa, I think they're going to be very good. And yeah, that's my predictions.
All right. Henry, what are your NFC South predictions?
And last, I have the Atlanta Falcons. This is going to be a terrible year for them. They really have no one to look forward to besides Kyle Pitts. And, Matt Ryan, you lost the best receiver in the league, in my opinion, when he's healthy. And your defense is not reliable. You're just in a city that's you're not going to win games because your team chokes. And I don't believe that they're going to be good this year, so I have them coming in, let's say, 6-11. At third, I have the Carolina Panthers. I think this could actually be close with the Saints, just because switching over to a quarterback duo like Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, you know what you're going to get. Jameis Winston can throw 30 touchdowns, but also throw 30 picks in a year. So it's like 50-50 with how you're going to do. So here I have the Panthers. Honestly, this team could do better than I'm saying, but just as of last year, we don't know if Christian McCaffrey is going to be back and as healthy as he was before. And they have weapons like DJ Moore and what's his name? The receiver.
Curtis Samuel's not there. Curtis Samuel's
Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel. So I'm looking forward to seeing that duo.
Henry. Curtis Samuel's on the football team now.
Oh, well, either way, I'm in favor for them. I'm from Carolina, so yeah. And third, I have the Saints, which you can also are in second. I have the Saints. They could also come second or third, but the Saints, they're going to be I have the Saints coming in second because they lost Drew Brees already said we don't know what's going to happen with their roster. So I have them coming in second just because they also have that offensive boost with Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. And they have a pretty good line, which can protect either quarterback they have in. And their defense isn't bad. That's why they've done well in playoffs in pretty much every year in the past 5 years. And first, I have probably the best team in the NFC this year, the Tampa Bay. They're just good. They have 2 of the best linebackers, a stellar secondary in Antoine Winfield Jr. He's a stud, and their defensive line, Vita Vea, is just overpowered. And you also look at their offense. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown can be good when he wants to. It's just up to how he wants to be. It's just how he wants to act. And then Tom Brady, the best QB of all time, pretty much. So I'm looking forward to that. in Tampa. So I have them. By the way, I had the Panthers coming in, I'll say 8 and 9, and I have the Buccaneers coming 15 and 2. It's a wild guess, but they're going to be good.
All right. In my last place, I have the Atlanta Falcons. It's because you're still in rebuilding, and I don't really know what they could do. They got rid of Julio. They're gonna be, in the words I call it, dookie this year. Can you guys all agree they're gonna be dookie this year? Are the Falcons gonna be dookie this year?
Yeah.
They were.
They're not.
All right.
They're one of those teams that doesn't have much to look for yet.
Yeah. Like, in a Giants fan, you do see that because you know you have your comic. But yeah, the Falcons have nothing to look for. They're dry for the next 2-3 years. You made the Super Bowl 4 years ago. Good for you. You're not gonna make a Super Bowl for another 5 or 6 years. Or make a playoff for another 4, 5, 6 years as long as Tom Brady's in that
I think
division.
you could argue 7, 10 years. So
Yeah. Probably until I have kids. Probably until actually everyone here actually has kids. So yeah, they're gonna be 5 and 12 this year. They have nothing to look for and they have nothing to do. Matt Ryan's old. Their defense is average. Their offense can't do anything because they don't have Julio. Because they're saving grace.
The only saving grace, in my opinion, is Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts. I mean, yeah, you do have Kyle Pitts. I'm sorry. That's what they are gonna look for, to Kyle Pitts. As long if he's a bust, I'll be true Atlanta Falcon fashion. But I don't think he's gonna be. All right, enough jabber jabber. All right, in coming in second or third, I really don't know who's coming here. It's either gonna be the either gonna be the Saints or not the Bucks, Panthers. The thing is that the Saints are gonna be switching quarterbacks between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. If you have to ask me who we want as your quarterback, Jameis Winston any day because he can at least do something. Taysom Hill is just a specialist quarterback where he just like runs around and just does trick plays. Like that's what the Falcon Saints usually did with him. He can't throw a ball. He can't not fumble the ball. He's nothing. And if I'm gonna probably think the Saints are gonna go last or third this year. They're in the division. I think they're gonna end up 7 and 10, maybe even 8 and 9. And the reason I have the Panthers in second is because you have Sam Darnold, who's an average quarterback. I don't know if he's that good. Maybe it's probably because he had the Jets on his team, and the Jets are infamous for knowing they just.
Can I just say one thing?
Uh-huh.
In my opinion, the only reason the Panthers can come second or third or second or higher is based on Sam Darnold. He's a growing QB, and he still has time to develop.
That's true. All right, thank you for putting your input on that, Henry. No, but the thing is that we don't know how good Sam Darnold is because the Jets ran a normal play against the Raiders and they lost it. I don't know why they weren't running Hell Bear defense. Like that's the team that you're on. So you don't know how good your team actually is. And that organization is just a huge mess. No, yeah, that's just really the whole purpose of that is that you don't know how good he's gonna be. I do see glimpses of how good he could be. So I think that they're gonna end up being 9 and 8 this year, 10 and 7 maybe, because you do have to play the fact. But you need to go 3 and 3 in their division, lose to the Bucks as usual, and then go 3-12 against the games when they're not playing against the Bucks. Maybe lose one against the Saints, maybe lose one against the Falcons. Who knows? As long as they don't have a losing record in their division. That's all they have. All right. And Tampa Bay is going to be, and Tampa Bay is going to be end up this year with 12 and 5. You're the Super Bowl champion. I don't need that to explain that much. You're a wild card team that wins the Super Bowl. I don't need to explain that much. Tampa Bay is going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I hate about. They're going to win the division, go 13 and 4. Tom Brady's going to carry them to the playoffs, and he's going to play another season and then another season, and then we're all going to be done. Humanity's gonna be extinct, and then he's still playing. All right, that's beside the point. All right, our last topic for today is what was going on with the Jazz. I should say this is really late on this topic. Jacob, what do you think was happening with the Jazz?
Well, here's the thing with the Jazz. They have their team is a 3-point shooting team, and that when they do not shoot the ball well, they're not good. See, I watched pretty much all the games except for Game 6 because I was busy. But no, I watched games 1 through 5, and when I watched those, I saw the Jazz outplay them in the first 2 games, and then the Clippers just broke it open. Reggie Jackson started performing really well. Kawhi Leonard ended up getting hurt. He went out in Game 5. I think he was out for Game 5. And after he left, they just started balling out. Terrence Mann, he stepped up. He stepped up in Game 6, and I was beyond impressed. Going down from 22 to winning the game and beating the Jazz and going to the first Western Conference Finals ever. So I think they're down 2-1 right now. I think this can be a 7-game series, and I think the Suns can beat them in 7. But yeah, that's besides the point. I think. But now back to the topic of the Jazz. If they can just change their shot selections and take threes, like they can still take threes, but they need to get inside more because when they don't hit their threes, they lose. So that's my thought on them.
All right. Henry, what do you think happened with the Jazz in their breakdown?
They're missing somebody. Rudy Gobert, awesome center, but he doesn't bring the scoring. He brings rebounding, defending. He'll put up maybe 15 a night, but it's still not enough. When Donovan Mitchell's a baller, he put up great numbers, which they need because without him putting up big numbers, they have no chance. I saw this on Heat Check channel. Actually, shout out Heat Check, that their system's built off threes, pick and rolls, because they have Donovan Mitchell, who's pretty fast. He's able to get around these guys and drive to the hoop. And usually these guys will bite on him. So if ever they bite, he can kick it out for a 3. When you have amazing 3-point shooters like Bojan Bogdanovic or Joe Ingles. And if they don't bite, he has an easy layup. So it's like pick your poison. But in the playoffs, some teams know how to guard that. So I'm also saying Donovan Mitchell, he's not like you need like a big star who you don't know. He's been in the playoffs a few times, but you need someone who can control the game, and he can, but he's just not as experienced as a Kevin Durant or like a Giannis. It's pretty much the game's up in his hands. And when he's scoring, they're winning. It's just, I think they need another scorer or some sort of offensive weapon. But besides that, they're a really good team.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree. They were a big 3-point shooter. My dad was explaining this in March Madness. I just a little off topic. If you're having a hot game and you're a 3-point shooting team, you're gonna win the game, even as long as your team is not, as long as your defense is somewhat average. But if you're playing bad in March Madness and you're a 3-point shooting team, you're gonna lose, regardless of how good your team is. Actually, except if you're like Gonzaga or Baylor or other teams. No, but if you're like one of those little Cinderella teams and you're having a good game, you can go past that. The Jazz are a good team. I don't get that wrong. They're the number 1 team in the West. They were the number 1 team in the West. So they can do something else. Just that they weren't winning their games.
Also, can I add one thing?
Yeah.
If this is a big factor. If they're not shooting the 3 ball well, they don't have a chance to win.
Yeah, because they're the Suns offense, which is power through that. Yeah, but that's really it. They just weren't playing good 3-point shooting wise, and that's what's gonna cost you the series in your season. All right, guys, we have big news coming in next episode. I don't know if it's necessarily good news, but it's gonna be big news that's gonna possibly just shape out how this is gonna go. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video.